Hi, welcome to Earth Radio. Reverend Rich. This is Reverend,
Reverend Paul.
and we have a very special guest today, Rob Ward, RScP. He's fantastic. Ah. So, real quick, this show is only about prayer.
Affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment.
Ernest Holmes. So we're having a great show today. Let's have some fun today. Would you pray us in, Rob, and then we'll talk a little bit about you.
Okay, absolutely. So as we take a moment here to center into this divine moment, allowing everything that has come before to simply fall away. And as we breathe into this prayer, as we breathe into this knowingness, I know that this one mind, this one power, this one divine presence is everywhere. I know that it's expressing and creating everything that is in this moment. And as it is creating everything, it is creating myself, it is creating Rich, it is creating Paul, it is creating all of life. Each of us a unique individualized expression of this oneness. And knowing this, I bless our time together this morning, knowing that everything flows perfectly. Everything is here by divine appointment this morning. In praise and thanksgiving, I just simply say, and so it is.
And
So it is. Well done. Well, Rob is a real good guy. He has a great website, which is RevRob Ward.com. RevRobWard.com. We always have to spell it out because sometimes folks they have to spell things. So what we have today is something wonderful. He is he's a student inside of the School of what? Tell us a little bit about yourself. I'm just gonna let you do it because you do better than I do.
Okay. I'm a second-year student in the School of Spiritual Living, Napa Valley campus. I'm also a practitioner at the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living with Reverend Jay Lang.
And then you're on some other council you said that you were talking about in the
Yes, I'm the newest member to the CSL Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a long title.
Hey, Rob, can you share with us real fast how you found Science of Mind? We talked about it in the green room, and it's a really powerful story.
Okay, yes. About 1,000,000 years ago, when I was a teenager, and I was roaming the streets of Southern California with a backpack going up and down the coast. I found myself one night. Actually, that evening started in a park. I was sleeping in the bushes, and some local rough guys were having a beat down in the park. So I'm sitting there packing up my stuff, rolling up my sleeping bag, crawling through the bushes, getting out of there, running down the street, looking for a safe place to sleep the rest of the night. And there was a church on a corner, and there were some bushes along the side. And I rolled in there between the sidewalk and the bushes and slept out. And it turned out to be the Ventura Church of Religious Science. So the next morning, Sunday morning, people are coming in. I'm like, oh, quick, get your stuff together. I snuck into the church, used the restroom, cleaned up a bit, and just decided to sit in the back of the church and listen to what they had to say. And didn't know quite what to make of the service because it was nothing to do with my Pentecostal childhood background or the Catholicism that I chose as a teenager. That's a whole different story. But liked the service and was getting ready to leave. And this wonderful woman came over to me and said, well, we're having food and fellowship after the service. Would you like to join us? And I thought, free food? Absolutely. Yes. I went over, got some food, was stuffing my face, standing over in a corner, and this lovely woman came back. And we started talking, and she was explaining this weird philosophy about, life is affirmative and God is for everything and God is in everything. And I'm like, what's she talking about? So we talked for a few minutes. When she started asking more questions about who I was and why I was, what I was doing and why I was there, I was like, okay, it's time to go now. Um, so she said, well, before you take off, I want to give you something. So she left for a few minutes. She came back and she handed me a hard copy, which I still have, of The Science of Mind in Spirit.
Mm.
So that was kind of the first peek at all of this.
Wow, that's a
Yeah.
powerful story, Rob.
And that
What
brought you where you are today.
I was going to say, geez, that brings you about the whole thing there. Hey, how does prayer show up in your life?
How does prayer show up in my life? Well, as a young adult, I was able to move past my childhood trauma of everything the Pentecostal church has to say about a gay person. I'm a gay person, and that wasn't working for me. But what I came to appreciate early in my young adult life was that my mom was praying without ceasing all the time. She was
Mm.
always in prayer of some sort. So when I got my crap together and started college in my early 20s, found that prayer showed up as, God, please make me humble, make me wise, allow me the ability to get through this. Because I had a GED, I wasn't a high school graduate or anything, didn't know how college was going to look. And I found that that prayer really stuck through me,
Mm.
with me through college.
Nice.
What tangible results have you seen from prayer? It sounds like you've got quite a few.
Boy, yes. Well, most recently, tangible results. My husband, Mark, was very sick. He was in the hospital, life threatening illness, and he had made it through a surgery and was doing pretty well. And I went up to see him one morning with my sister and brother in law. And they went down to get coffee. And I'm just sitting there in his room chatting with him like I'm chatting with you. And all of a sudden, he was just gone. And what had happened is his heart had stopped. And I freaked out and I'm yelling for help and I'm praying to God, affirmative prayer. I know this is going to be okay. They're going to take care of him. But it was, really a scary moment. But he made it through. The team worked on him. He wasn't out for very long. The fact that
Mm.
he is still here today, I attribute that absolutely to a demonstration of prayer.
Mm.
That's you got some powerful ones coming up
That-
today.
and how do you stay grounded in prayer?
Yeah.
Um, it just is. I know with the things I've been through in my life that if I did not have prayer in my life every day, I wouldn't be here. There were too
Mm.
many times in my young life where life got very dark in moments and life was really challenging. And it was always prayer that got me centered back in my heart, centered back in, I'll make it through this. Life will continue. Good things will happen. It's in my DNA.
So when you prep for your day, how does Rob
Mm.
prep for his day? I mean, I always say, "Oh, I'm up," that type of thing. How do you prep for your day? Do you do 50 prayers, 50 push-ups?
Okay.
Oh, great maker,
Well, as I always say, coffee is proof of the existence of God because if we follow the Christian tradition, God would not have created anything else had God not created coffee to start God's day as God was creating all of this. So there's always coffee in the morning before prayer. But I start my day with my coffee. It's a ritual, prayer over the coffee, and then I move into spiritual reading. Um, that's a big part of who I am. I'm a scholar and an intellectual. I like to read and learn things. Spiritual study is really important to my practice, and spiritual study grounds me into what am I going to pray for this day? What's the intention for me falls out of what I'm studying that morning. and then I move into an hour of prayer. I pray for a number of prayer lists. I'm still a prayer angel with Unity of Minneapolis. I get a list once a week. I just received the list this morning,
Mm,
who I'm to pray for. Pray for as a ministry of prayer with the Napa Valley Center. I receive a list of prayers that we pray for that. So I go through all of those. I pray for peace for the world, peace for myself, for my family, for my fellow students and ministers, and it goes on and on and on and on for about an hour in the morning.
nice. How have you found your prayers evolving from being a practitioner to now in ministerial school?
Good question. I'm less concerned about steps to treatment. I've spent more time in Unity than I have in Science of Mind and Centers for Spiritual Living, Religious Science. So we had affirmative prayer, and there was a somewhat guide, but it wasn't at the time I came into Unity. It wasn't a real steppy kind of prayer like it is. It's becoming now. So affirmations and denials, all of those types of
Mm,
things. And through ministerial school, I'm finding if I allow the prayer to flow and I sort of hear back somewhere along the way, the steps are there, but I'm only conscious of the steps when I'm asked to do a prayer for some place or some like this, like the show this morning, and more conscious of, okay, Rabba, recognition, unification, blessing, and so it is. You keep those little things from practitioner training in. But as a ministerial student, it's definitely more organic and flowing.
mm,
You speak your word into the truth of the law, and then it's done for yourself.
Mhm.
And then it ripples out, as I always say, in from in and out. So that's what I'm hearing on that. Boy, in doubt, do you have doubt sometimes, and how do you get out of it? I doubt that. Oh, I'm not. This
that
isn't going
dark cloud, right?
to. Yeah.
Interesting. Can you just clarify? Is the doubt about prayer or doubts about I have life with
Well, like
life?
you have that dark night of the soul that they say. What we call it the dark cloud going over. So once you're in that dark cloud, what do you do to get out of that, to move past it?
It's prayer. It's knowing. I never doubt I've never in my life doubted the existence of God, of the divine. So it's always from that place of even in the darkest moments, I know that that's there, and it's that argument to my consciousness. Since I've been in this teaching and through practitioner studies and ministerial school, I am aware that I begin knowing whose I am and who I am and how I am
Mm,
in this life, this expression. So even like when my husband was going through those dark times of his health crisis, I was screaming at conditions and form and circumstance and yelling my head off at that, while at the same time knowing that that was going to pass. Everything was going to be
mm,
okay, regardless of the outcome, because it's all God all the time. And that knowingness that it's all God all the time, there's nothing else present. Or as the Course of Miracles says, it's either love or fear, and fear is not real, only love is real. So as
mm.
long as I'm centered in love, whatever the condition or circumstance is that's showing up in my life, it's the energy of the divine love that's carrying me through all of that.
It's
Nice.
interesting. It's interesting you brought up the Course of Miracles. That's a class that's offered by many different other philosophies, and it's a book that I invite you to take a look at, our audience. It's I don't know if it's a religion or not. But it does have some tangible teachings that'll open your mind up to other
Mm,
possibilities. Would you agree with that, Rob?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it pairs really well with our teaching.
Oh yeah, it really does. It really does. The evolving prayer thing comes to mind. How prayers have evolved over time. You just went over the part where you were talking about the one step, and then you've realized that prayer itself is become where you speak your word into truth, into the law. And I guess that was a journey for you. That took some time. It took a journey for all of us. I mean, come on now, Paul, right?
We're still on the journey.
We're
Yes.
still on the journey, mastering everything in our lives. And I think everybody's doing that. Uh, Prayer specifics, 5-step, 1-step. Sounds like you do a 1-step, speak your word in truth. But, what is your favorite? How do you do that? Do you do the 7-step treatment or do you just, I think you explained it when you were talking about when you do it for somebody else, you do a 5-step, but for you, you just sounds like you just speak your word in the truth, or am I correct on saying that?
Yeah, it's more of I begin by saying love is always everywhere present. I'm an expression of that love, and then I move right into what is the prayer intention? What am I seeking to know in the prayer? And I stay there for quite some time because we're only praying for ourselves that we get our consciousness
Mm,
correct. I think the most powerful thing I do as a practitioner is to first know that um, it's about my perceptions that I need to shift. I'm shifting to know, as you're saying, Rich, shifting to know truth. And that's an interesting dance in prayer. And it's so different. Um, Early in my life, it was all about beseeching, begging God,
mm,
God, please, please make this happen. Please, out there, up there, God, let it happen now. When I moved away from that in college, I'm also a practicing Buddhist. So there's a number of different ways to pray as a Buddhist. So that comes into my prayer life each day. Uh, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo is something that I
mm.
chant and pray.
It's my favorite
Um,
chant.
So
yeah.
let me ask a question on that, if I may. How does the science of mind correlate with other philosophies and religions in your mind? I mean, you brought up the Buddhism and you brought up unity. I mean, enlighten us. I mean, I'd love to hear about your thoughts on that if you're open to it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's the thing that really love about Ernest Holmes. He studied all of the great religions and he
Mm,
found the golden thread. As we all know, he found the golden thread that moved through all of them. And I look, when I'm reading Ernest Holmes, I look for that thread. I am an eclectic spiritualist. I'm a ordained pagan priest of all things. So there's pagan Wiccan parts of myself. We just did a spring equinox ritual, my friend Devin and I, for the Napa Valley Center. So there's those prayers of calling in the directions and grounding in the earth. Uh, I'm losing my train of thought, Rich, but it's
Well,
all wrapped up in there.
And you said you were an intellectual. How do you drop from your head to your heart?
interesting, Paul.
Ooh, he's picking on my Aquarian self today.
There he goes. Yeah, he is.
It's just coming to me.
That's for me. It's really a conversation with my divine self. Okay, this is coming from my head. Okay, you just studied this morning the four immeasurables. The four immeasurables in Buddhism are love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. So I'll get wrapped up in the, oh, well, how does that translate? How does that look
Mm,
with the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism? So I'll be doing this intellectual dance, and then all of a sudden I'll go, wait a minute, I'm in this moment to pray.
mm,
So recognizing that I've been caught up in my thoughts. And then the next prayer is, Spirit, allow my heart to open, allow me to deepen and to listen with the ears of my heart before I speak with an inner voice or an outer voice.
mm,
It's interesting. For our audience that are their philosophies, I have a lot of friends that are Buddhists and things of that nature, but they also use the science of mind prayer because it's structured. In Buddhism, it's structured also. It's we're open at the top, and you could be a Buddhist in science of mind and all these other philosophies and still be science of mind. We have no dogma and creed in the philosophy that we're in. Notice how I said philosophy.
But we do have principles that we live by.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And those principles are very important that we follow those. And I invite you to go to Paul's site to check that out because he has a wonderful video on that. Little plug there for you, Paul. So, Rob, What is your favorite Ernest Holmes book besides The Science of Mind?
I read that in the preset questions you sent to me. So it's not a book. It's the
Okay.
Sermon by the Sea.
Hmm.
I will carry the Sermon by the Sea with me the rest of my life because I think it's the penultimate of Ernest Holmes' teachings.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
That's
and people
wonderful.
can find that in this month's April's issue of Science of Mind
Yeah.
magazine.
And we'll
Yeah.
also put it in the show, all these things in the show notes that have been mentioned.
And I also
Um,
have a great video on my website, which is curtailed to the Sermon by the Sea for
I
people to
haven't seen that
understand
one.
it much better.
I'll have to look at that one, Paul.
Yeah.
Hey, what's your favorite quote, Rob?
My favorite quote,
Ernest Holmes
it's
quote, if you have one.
yes. So it's from the Sermon by the Sea. Everything that lives proclaims the glory of God. Every person who exists manifests the life of God. There is one spirit in which we live, one mind by which we think, one body by which we are part of, and one light that lighteth every man's path.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Nice. And how would you explain our philosophy to someone who doesn't understand it or doesn't know it for the first time?
It's a
Elevator.
philo- yeah, it's a philosophy of how to live a better life. It's not a philosophy that's telling you you have to do certain things. As Rich said, there's no creed, there's no have tos. It's a philosophy that if you truly come to understand it and follow it and believe it, belief is key, that conviction that you're knowing a truth, that you will have positive results in your life. And the big piece of it, as this wonderful show Prayers Radio is talking about, it's all about prayer. There's many other things
Hmm.
that are attached with philosophy and all these other words and things you get to learn about. But if you are grounded in prayer and knowing that you're praying with your higher self as the higher self of the divine, and you truly feel grounded and centered in that, however you understand the divine, I'm not going to give you a name. If you want to call it uh, Astarte or Chenrezig or whatever you want to call that divine knowingness. But if you center in that and ground that and truly believe that what you are praying is going to be a result of the prayer, that your life will be different, your life will change, and you will find joy and happiness, equanimity, all of those wonderful
Hmm.
things flow from your life.
So, God, that was good. The when you do prayer, do you get different results from prayer? I mean, I want a pony, and he has to be a purple pony, and has to have a unicorn on it. If you pray for a specific thing, has it changed? Does it give you exactly what you want in your mind, or is it something else that shows up in your thoughts when you do a prayer that you've seen? Tangible. These are results and stuff.
Tangible results. I've never been the guy that prays for the parking spot. That's never been part of my prayer. I will pray. For instance, convention starts next week. My husband still has some health issues. I've been really challenged in my prayer life. Do I go? Do I not go? Is it going to be okay if I go, even for a few days? I live in Southern California. Reno's not that far, but it is far when you're concerned about someone you care about. And I'm back and forth in that prayer. Okay, Spirit, you're not answering the question. I need to know. I need to know. And then Spirit answers back, well, follow your intuition. You will know in the
Hmm.
moment what the thing is to do. So I go back up into my head. But wait a minute, put the sign out there, God. It says this is exactly what you're supposed to do. Well, the sign doesn't show up. The sign says, sit in the quiet, in the stillness, and listen with the ears of your heart, and you will know the divine direction to go. That divine moment will show up, and you'll know everything will feel calm and peaceful, and you'll know that that's the thing to do.
Nice,
And how do you
nice.
trust that? How do you believe in that? How do you bring that to fruition?
I don't do anything. The spirit moving through me does. So I went through this last year when we were getting ready to go to SOAR. I was a mess. I was a mess. I'm going, I'm not going, I'm going, I'm going. You notice a theme here with me. I'm going, I'm not going, I'm going, I'm not going. And the night before I was getting ready to fly, there just a calm peace came over me. This is, you've been waiting for this. I put this on your heart back in 2020 at the 2020 convention. They were talking about this thing called SOAR happening in Banff, Canada. I've always wanted to go there. You know, this is a divine appointment. You know, everything is going to flow perfectly. Settle into the peace of God. Peace be still. My favorite quote of Myrtle Fillmore's, peace be still. And a peace settled over me, and I knew, okay, yeah, I can do this. It feels right and perfect.
So we're at the 4 minute mark, and we have a couple of questions left. Like, when do you release a prayer to law? When it's in you, do you just push it out there?
Like when do you feel complete, right?
When that peace, when that peaceful moment feels like I'm rested in my heart. When I
Mm,
feel rested, that I'm not, the words don't feel like they need to continue to flow, and there's just a stillness in my heart. And I'm, okay, that's the moment to let it go. I'm not working to straighten out my consciousness around this prayer.
nice.
Sad.
And is there any takeaways, or what would you be your takeaway for people viewing our show this morning? What would you like them to take away from it?
What would I like them to take away from it? That they should come on your show. I mean, this is an opportunity to talk about, and I'm very serious about this. I've been mentioning this to friends in the School of Spiritual Leadership. You are creating a moment where the most important thing we do in life is our prayer. I don't care what tradition you're coming in, even the begging and beseeching, Father God, if that is your path and you feel that divine essence in you, prayer is vital to us as human beings, making
Mm,
it through this human incarnation. I'm a psychologist. I've worked with many youth over the years, and um, that conversation that I have with them is you must have something bigger than yourself in your life. And that can be however you understand that source that is larger than you. And if you can find the pathway that fits for you, it's going to be a pathway of some form of prayer, whether
mm,
that's a prayer to your just yelling at God. If that's your prayer, that's great. If you find a pathway like religious science or unity or Buddhism or Wicca, you're going to find that the big piece of that is your prayer life. And when you can make that the center of who you are, life just settles. It becomes, even in your darkest moment, even with your biggest challenges, it becomes an essence, a part of you. And you'll go through the life challenges, you'll go through the dark moments, you'll have that dark night of the soul, but you'll have that thing that grounds you, that guides you through those dark moments and through the happy moments as well. When you're rejoicing and you're
mm.
like, wow, life is beautiful, light is great, everything's showing up for me. Again, it's showing up for me because I'm centered in prayer.
And like you said earlier, your mom was a good example of that because she prayed without ceasing.
Oh, absolutely. My
Yeah.
mom was in constant prayer. We had a troubled childhood in my family, and my mom's prayers helped us all to see that there was a way through.
Mm.
She prayed a different kind of prayer, and we argued about prayer later in my life. Robert, I'm praying for you. Thank you, Mom. We can never have too many prayers. When I got past wanting to change her prayer life the way she wanted to change mine, and we could just agree that prayer was a good thing,
Mm.
it was perfect.
That's
That's
great. Thank you.
well. I'm Reverend Rich. This is Prayers Radio. This is,
Reverend Paul, I am spiritalive.com.
and we are thanking. I didn't say we're going to thank. I said we are thanking because we're in the present time in this philosophy. Rob Ward, RScP, for being here. And again, go to his site, revrobward.com, and you can get the spelling at the beginning of the show if you need to spell it out. Would you pray us out, Rob?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, in gratitude and thanksgiving for this wonderful divine
Mm,
appointment, for this knowingness that prayer is the way of life, it is the vehicle, the pathway to a greater understanding of knowing this divine that is present here and now, as it is present in myself, it is present in Reverend Rich and Reverend Paul and everyone listening to this show and everyone out there in this universe. All sentient beings at this moment are in this oneness, this beautiful prayer, this beautiful moment. And I'm so thankful and grateful for this knowingness. I'm grateful for Reverend Rich and Reverend Paul for Prayers Radio, for this opportunity to know that prayer is the answer. Prayer is the
mm.
vehicle that takes us into the inward knowingness. And I'm so grateful for this understanding, for this peace of the divine that washes over me in this moment, in this prayer, and allowing it to be so, knowing that before I even spoke these words, the divine already said yes. Yes,
Mm.
my beloved, yes. I know this law, this creative source has already taken the prayer and answered it. I allow it to be. I know that is grace. And together we say, and so it
And
And
so
is.
it
so it
is.
is. Thank you again.
Thank you, Rob.
You're welcome.
Your